This is a ceremony to recognize Whitehall as a historic site in journalism. It will become the 99th historic site in journalism in the country and only the second site in Kentucky. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Doug Whitlock, President of Eastern Kentucky University, who will bring readings from Eastern.
Thank you, Dr. Hanson. As someone who once considered himself a budding journalist, apparently I went wrong along the line, as a student of history, as a lifelong resident of Madison County, and serving as president of Eastern Kentucky University, I'm very pleased and honored to have the opportunity to welcome you here today. Cassius Marcellus Clay, in fact, the entire Clay family, have long been central figures in the history of Madison County. When you have an opportunity to visit the Eastern Kentucky University campus, come to our library, go to the archives. We have a pretty interesting Cassius Clay collection there, ranging from a letter he wrote to Green Clay directing Glenn Green to sue Berkey Seed Company because they had shorted him, I think, 2 or 3 bean seeds. in an order to a complete collection of the true American on film. So that resource is there for anyone who cares to see it.
As Commissioner, I too wish to welcome all for braving the weather to be here for this very special ceremony. On behalf of Kentucky State Parks and Whitehall Historic Site, we are truly honored to receive this recognition.
Thanks to everyone for being here, and thanks to all of you who have made this day possible. It is a real pleasure for me to be here today, to see all of you here. You know, our cultural heritage is one of the cornerstones of Kentucky's tourism industry. And this site is a true gem in our cornerstone. On behalf of Governor Beshear and the Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Cabinet, I want to express my appreciation to the Society of Professional Journalists for bestowing this honor on Whitehall State Historic Site.
This time it's my pleasure to introduce to you Reverend Charles Herrick, the great-great-grandson of Cassius Marcellus Clay. I guess I would be brief and just say, welcome home to you.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to be here today and to take part in this auspicious day in the life of Whitehall and the life of the Commonwealth of Kentucky and the Clay family itself. As far as my times at Whitehall here, allow me to make a couple of observations. The first time I came here, I was a little kid in 1947, and I looked at this great, looming, haunting structure, and I was afraid to come into this place. For some reason, I think, I stood outside and played outside with the kids that were the kids of the tenant farmers that were living in the old Claremont part of the mansion at that time. The rest of it, I don't know, was boarded up somewhat. When my family came out and told me that they were slaughtering pigs in one of the rooms, I was especially glad to come in the house at that time. The second time I was here was in 1963, and again, the tenant farmers were still living in the older part of the house. I came out with an old gentleman who had been not a slave himself, but descended from slaves certainly. He came out from Richmond with him, and it's the first time he had been out here since he was a little boy, and told me that he would go out and collect blackberries for Cassius and come up to the door, and Cassius would give him a dime or something for his efforts. And so I felt that close. He was not a sneaky guy. He took his stand, he laid it right out there in the true American, especially where he stood. And that's why we continue to honor him to this day. Thank you.
It reads, Historic Site in Journalism, Whitehall, home of Cassius M. Clay.
publisher of the anti-slavery newspaper, The True American. It has a little more information. It will be put in the proper place here. And we, the Society of Professional Journalists, are proud to install this here today. And we hope many people learn not only of Mr. Clay's viewpoints on slavery, but on how he was able to use a newspaper and his right of the First Amendment to help change the course of our history.